All right, guys, is Brock Purdy going to save the Jalen Hurts owners in the next round of the fantasy playoffs? Let's find out. It's a waiver edition of Garbage Time Fantasy Football. It's time for Garbage Time. Guys, welcome into Garbage Time Fantasy Football. On this episode, it is me and Ryan going over Week 16 waivers, hoping to get you guys through your fantasy playoffs. How are you doing?
Once again, it's just
it's a consistent hell of a train that never ends.
We're just a two-man team.
Absolutely, and JJ just going solo on Thursday. Although we are just always joined by the ghost of Ron Seymour. Never know when he's going to pop up. Anyway, Ryan, you ready to get into the waiver edition of this show? No news, because this is fresh in the morning, and there is no news.
Let's do
this
it.
Early in the morning. Let's do it. Shut up, Ron. You have no input on this episode. Ryan, which position would you like to go over first for the heckling fandom?
Let's do we can just do the quarterbacks. Let's go right to the QB position.
The savior for the Eagles quarterback owners?
Yes. Yeah, they're gonna need it. Hopefully they've been stashing one for this season, but if you got Jalen Hurts, it's hard to I could see the logic where some people might ditch carrying two quarterbacks.
All right, so I'm going to go right off the bat and ask you then, is Brock Purdy, the 49ers, Mr. Irrelevant, the savior that those Jalen Hurts owners need to win their fantasy matchup next week?
I don't know if he's necessarily the savior. You got to hope you have some other strong parts in that team. I do think he's probably the most reliable when it comes to doing the
simple shit.
Sam Darnold or Davis Mills or even a Russell Wilson. I'd probably trust Brock Purdy more. Mm-hmm. So he's definitely not going to give you Jalen Hurts numbers, but he'll at least get you 15-ish points.
Do you think he exceeds 15 points? Because that was the number I was really going to give you for Brock Purdy.
Against Washington, man, that's I'm going to say in the 15 to 18 range. I really don't see him breaking into the 20s.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's about where I've got you there, too. Obviously, he's not going to give you Jalen Hurts kind of numbers who could double that score in any given week, but he's got a nice floor where he's not going to ruin you. You're going to have to make up the points somewhere else. But if you're scrambling this late in the season, there's not many better options, I don't think, going into this week. A lot of them are either picked up or stashed by your opponent. You may be screwed.
Agreed.
And this is the best you're going to get. All right, here's an interesting question for you. There's a guy on waivers this week, has a rib injury, is probably going to miss this matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars. All things are dictating that. It looks like Zach Wilson's going to go for the Jets. But Mike White has a decent matchup against the Seattle Seahawks secondary next week, potentially. So are you potentially stashing Mike White for the Week 17 matchup, or do you think there's a lot better options out there?
I guess my biggest concern would be, so you saw the Jets head coach coming out and defending Zach Wilson this week. Yes,
he did.
Do they decide to just let him finish out the season?
It kind of feels like it.
Right. So that is going to be the big gamble, because I see them letting Zach Wilson finish out the season. I really do.
Although, if they escape here with a sloppy victory against the Jacksonville Jaguars, which, honestly, I don't even know if they can win this game. We'll see how I pick later in the week. But if they escape with a sloppy victory, there's 10-plus days for them to get on track for the Seattle Seahawks game going to the West Coast, which is enough time, I believe, for Mike White to recover, who I think they think gives them a better shot to win in the playoffs. So I think this is all determined by Zach Wilson's performance against the Jacksonville Jaguars. and I have no faith. So I don't mind stashing him for a potential Week 16 matchup. But I hope if you've gone to the playoffs this late, there's better options out there for you should you be looking at an emergency in Week 16.
Agreed.
Oh, Lord. How do you feel about Sam Darnold?
I don't like it at all.
Even going up against the Detroit Lions?
Yeah, like maybe it's just me, but that Lions defense has gotten better.
Yeah, much better.
Like they're still showing as a positive matchup in fantasies, but like I don't think it's as favorable of a matchup as their fantasy rating will make you believe.
And if you're relying on Sam Darnold in the fantasy playoffs, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yes.
Just put it that way. You trust him more than Davis Mills?
Oof.
The options are scarce this week.
They are. I'm gonna say yeah. I think that the Titans are a worse defense than the Lions right now. I really do. Davis Mills, he didn't have a great game, and it was against a poor defense, but he still threw for 3 touchdowns. So yeah, I think I would take Davis Mills over Sam Darnold.
And that secondary can definitely be had.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I would just pray that you would get Brock Purdy over, I would say, the other 3 options currently there. You have any other quarterbacks not on this really shitty list that you'd like to bring up for Week 16?
No, not at all.
All right, let's talk about some running backs. This is about to get really scary. So with Jonathan Taylor out, there's 2 running backs named Zach Moss and Deion Jackson, who looked like he was a really good cuff going into the last few weeks if Jonathan Taylor went down. Who is the starter for the Indianapolis Colts the last 2 weeks? Do you trust that you can play either one of them? Can you play both of them? Do you play none of them? What's your thoughts on the Indianapolis Colts backfield, Ryan?
Well, with Jonathan Taylor going down, you did see Deion Jackson get 13 carries, I think it was. And Zach Moss got, what did he get? 24 carries. So that's hard. I feel like you gotta lean Zach Moss, right?
Oh, God, I would never want to put Zach Moss in my starting lineup, especially fantasy players, but he played all right. God, I would do anything I could to avoid it, but if you had to pick one of the 2 going into this week, I think you got to play Zach Moss.
I think you're right.
That sucks. All right. Do you like Khalil Herbert better than either one of these 2 options? Again, not sexy.
Especially in PPR leagues, just because he does get that weird PPR work. And he can just break off a catch like we've seen him do several times. So I would take Khalil Herbert over either of those 2.
Even coming off injury?
Yeah.
I think I'd be a little bit tentative, but I don't think Khalil Herbert's a terrible option this week. I like him better than our next option on here, though, Chuba Hubbard. What's your thoughts on Chuba Hubbard?
I'm out on that whole Panthers situation.
You're not playing in the mud there?
No. Nope, I don't like it. Nope.
No Sam Darnold, no Chuba Hubbard. Done with the whole Panthers team?
All of it. Yep.
Get out of here. What about another NFC South option? Tyler Algier, who out of nowhere had a fantastic game after living in the running back desert for 4 weeks.
Yeah, we talked about that in our last episode. I think it's a trap. Just has trap written all over it. Had like 4 straight weeks of single-digit numbers. Then just had a huge game. I'm not trusting it. I'm not buying in.
130 yards isn't enticing with this awful waiver week?
No, I think Khalil right now I would go Khalil Herbert. Oh man. Zach Moss, Tyler Algier.
Oof, that is an awful list going into hopefully is your second to last week before you raise a trophy in week 17. Gus Edwards. He's a option out there, kinda, I guess, right?
But
am I going too deep?
With J.K. Dobbins bad, he's kind of taken over that completely. I'm out on Gus Edwards. No thanks.
All right. Wide receivers, Elijah Moore is kind of coming back to the forefront of the Jets offense. Had some nice plays this past weekend, even with Zach Wilson throwing him the ball. Do you like potentially picking Elijah Moore off of waivers in this upcoming week and playing him as a wide receiver 3?
I did see as a wide receiver 3. I did see the argument for it.
Do you trust him more than Treylon Burks, who should be coming back from injury?
Ooh.
This is something I feel like you really have to look into. Do you think that he's going to prominently go right back into his role and just be good? He did last time he came off of injury. Are we going to see it again?
Yeah, I think I like Treylon Burks more. Yeah.
I think both of these are streamable as wide receiver 3s. I like both of these options this week. And if you're looking for a position that's going to help win you the flex in week 16, it's going to be the wide receiver position because the next few options are pretty good here too. Chris Moore for the Texans. Are they going to ride this hot hand for the last few weeks just to see what they got with him? Listen, I don't know if Cooks is going to be on the team next year. They may move on from that. Definitely dealing with injuries too in that front of on that side of the ball. It's just not good. So what's the thoughts?
Yeah, I don't see why not. And I don't see Cooks rushing himself back with how things are going with that team right now. Damian Pierce is hurt.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's basically Chris Moore. So, I like it.
Some more show and nothing much more.
Yep.
All right, this is a nice option. I think you talked about him a little bit as establishing himself the last few weeks. We really saw the desert between what felt like week 2 to just 2 weeks ago. Jahan Dotson. Do you think he's really a prominent part of this offense now? And is he going to help win your fantasy championships the next 2 weeks?
Yeah. On your list here, he's number 1 for me.
Really?
Yep.
Up above Treylon Burks?
Yep.
That's pretty impressive there. I don't know if I'd put him that high. I think I would still put Burks above him, even coming off the injury, but very, very good wide receiver. And he may rise to the top of this rookie class next year, not as a number 1 wide receiver, but maybe in the top 3 or 4. That speed's there and that separation is starting to show. I didn't like Russell Gage, but do you like Russell Gage, and are you picking him off the waiver wire this week?
No, I'm kind of with you. I just don't think that offense is struggling. I'm not much interested in anything other than Chris Godwin, I think.
Okay. What about the team that absolutely ripped your heart out and this guy helped do it, Matt Collins? Do you like Matt Collins off the waivers?
I mean, he has basically shown flex value since week 11 and has been trending in the right direction. So, yeah.
Hey, Ryan. Was that player in bounds?
No, he absolutely was not, unless he doesn't have toes, which is very impressive to be a player in the NFL without toes.
The refs aren't getting back at the pads for the tuck rule?
The tuck rule, the index card situation, I think they owed him one. Still not happy about it, though.
Do you like Rashid Shaheed better than Matt Collins? He kind of seems to be coming out of nowhere there for the Saints.
Yeah, but no, I like Matt Collins more.
All right. Where would you put Rashid Shaheed then? Is he just kind of a throw a dart kind of player this week? Or
yeah, he would almost be like my last option. Like if I strike out on everything else.
What about Isaiah Hodgins, which has kind of been disrespected by anyone outside of the Giants?
Yeah, I mean, the Giants have to throw to somebody. So
it seems to be it the last few weeks.
Yeah, so I mean, there's definitely a case for it.
All right. And you want to do the defenses or tight ends next?
Let's go defense.
All right. You seem to be switching it up there now that you're drinking out of the Moosehead. Must be eggnog.
The good stuff.
All right. The obvious one to pick up for this week is anyone playing Houston, right? Even though they scored very well last week. So
I know Houston must have hurt us, man, because since we've
said surprising.
They've been scrappy.
They almost beat the Chiefs. So, yes, very scrappy. So, regarding that, are you still picking up the Tennessee Titans defense to go against the Houston Texans this week?
Ooh.
I think I still am.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what defense I have. But if I'm streaming, like I'll still take my chances against the Texans offense.
All right, another interesting streamer you could play this week that's available in more than half of leagues is Chargers going up against Indy this week. Do you like the Chargers playing the Indianapolis Colts, who had a miracle of a meltdown?
I don't know, because the Colts are still scoring points. Like they're still. I don't know if I love that one.
So you much would rather have the Titans as opposed to the Chargers?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough. How do you feel about the Browns with their next upcoming 2 matchups against the Saints and the Commanders?
I like them against the Saints. I could see that.
Slapping Silly, it's a great matchup.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you like them better than the Titans?
No.
Okay. And what is your thoughts on the Jets defense the last 2 weeks going up against a reinvigorated Trevor Lawrence, who's played very well the last 6 to 7 weeks, and then followed up by the Seattle Seahawks?
I don't love it, which is a bummer because the Jets, I mean, they have a good defense, but the Jags especially are really clicking now. So that's a tough one.
Okay. So anyone else you'd like to add to the streaming waiver wire since you like so many defenses and this is how you roll?
No. As far as like not very well owned, I think you covered it.
Okay. Tight end position, Chig Okonkwo for the Tennessee Titans.
Man, he's becoming a star of our show. This is like the 3rd week.
Yeah, 3 weeks in a row, and I shit on him the first week as an athletic tight end that wouldn't amount to anything, and here he is, just popping out of the waiver show every single week. So do you like Chig Okonkwo?
Absolutely. 3 straight weeks, double digits. Like we mentioned last episode, the tight end position has been god-awful.
Yep, real bad.
You can't ask for much more than that.
All right. Are we jumping on this landmine again? If you are desperate to win your fantasy matchup or a major underdog, is it time to pull out the Taysom Hill nuclear weapon?
Oh, man. That
It's a real deterrent.
I mean, yeah, if you're really scared, like it.
How desperate do you have to be?
You have to be very desperate. I like Okino more for sure.
That's a given. Although Taysom was involved this week.
He was.
So, you doing it?
If I'm very desperate, like I'd have to be very desperate, and there'd have to be nothing else.
Are you so desperate that you would take him over Robert Tonyan this week?
Yeah, that I might. Yeah, that's an idea.
I mean, I think you could still stream Tonyan, but and I think if you needed a better floor, I'd play Tonyan. All right, here's a question about the Jets tight end position, which was very interesting this week because 2 players, both were pretty decent for fantasy this week. Seju Uzama scored 2 touchdowns, and he had been pretty quiet up to this point, but Tyler Conklin got the majority of snaps and was still pretty prominent for fantasy football. So going into this Thursday game, would you be willing to stream either one of these guys, and which one do you trust more?
Well, Conklin only had 1.9 points this week.
But more targets run.
Yeah, I mean, he had 2 targets, but 1 reception.
Sorry, more routes run then.
You almost got to flip a coin. But it does seem like Uzama is the one that would get the red zone. So Conklin has 3 touchdowns on the year.
Yep.
Spread across 2 games.
And so Zach Wilson will more than likely be starting on Thursday, and I look for them to probably have a similar game plan because you can't really adjust a lot in 4 games. So I think CJ Uzama could be a part of that game plan.
Yeah, I'm thinking Uzama.
I'm leaning that way too. I think he could be a decent red zone target for the Jets, who could fall behind very quickly in that game. I think they could be had by the Jags, and the Jags could end their playoff hopes this week. We'll see. We will absolutely see. Cade Otton as my last tight end. What's your thoughts on Cade Otton?
I'm out on offense. That's not Chris Godwin.
Man, this is a really depressing waiver show this week.
It
Rounding
is.
out right before championship week.
Slim pickings at this point, man.
Damn, man. Anyone that's got to go off this list that's still in your playoffs, good luck, guys. outside of Purdy, it's not looking good. You might be okay at the wide receiver position, but the rest of these positions are not looking good.
Yeah, I mean, Purdy, the wide receiver position is nice, and then basically O'Connell for the tight ends, and that's pretty much.
And then the nuclear deterrent that is Taysom Hill.
Yeah. So at your own risk.
I'm sorry, guys. We can only do so much for you on Garbage Time Fantasy Football, and that is give you a garbage list for Week 16. So thanks for listening again. Make sure to like and subscribe to the show here on YouTube. We are live on Twitch and Twitter. You can listen to us in audio formats on Apple, Spotify, Google, Pandora, Amazon, Iheartradio. Tune in and anywhere else you get podcasts. Listen to us through our website too at www.garbagetimef.com, where you can also leave us voicemails, link any questions, start sit-ems, waivers below in the comments. If you're not listening to this live, this is pre-recording, so you are not listening to this one live. You will be getting this coming to you Tuesday morning, so hopefully that helps you with Tuesday and Wednesday waivers. And Ryan, if you want to win this Miles Sanders autograph card, who disappointed fantasy owners this past week, how do you do it?
You gotta like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a Apple review, and comment that you have joined the Heckling fandom.
Absolutely. So, guys, join JJ for what I believe will be a Thursday episode, although he had to bring you a Sunday edition to an episode because he was very busy this past week. So pay attention to that schedule. He will preview the matchups this given week. We'll see who is on the show with him. It will definitely not be that man, as he has been on a few-week hiatus. We will see when Ron Seymour gets back, and at that point, we will draw the dirty names out of the dirty hat and see who wins that Miles Sanders card. So thanks again for joining in, Heckling Fandom. If we don't see you Thursday, have a great holiday and enjoy whatever JJ brings you. Have a good one.